One thing I would often tell him, 1,000 times better, 1,000 times better, and he knew that I meant, that I want you to be 1,000 times better. And so I just appreciate, and I know that he is more than 1,000 times better. I do appreciate knowing him, just a family man, taking care of his family. And when they told me how he would go to work all the time and all of that, I'm like, that is good. Sometimes we think, where are those kind of men? We have that kind right here, and I appreciate God for that.
Thank God.
I'd like to thank God for having known John, and Sister Michelle has been very close to me. I remember the night that he asked Michelle to marry him. They were in my kitchen on Robinson Street. And that held a very special something in my heart for both of them. And John proved to be a good husband, a good father, and he took very good care of Michelle. And I'm so thankful that he was able to hold on and make it through. And I want to see him again.
Praise God.
Thank the Lord for knowing Brother John. When I came in 1987, he was here, and he's always been an inspiration to our congregation. And I really appreciated his story about the dog chasing the hot dog. Chasing the hot dog. He told us that story for years, but I really appreciated his story probably a couple months ago when he was telling us about the flag and nailing it, and how when they woke that morning, the flag was still there. But really, I really appreciate Brother John because he really fought the fight of faith. I mean, on the real, that's what the fight of faith really, really is. And as I was thinking about it at home, I said, God, he really fought the fight of faith. He fought to get up every morning to go to work. He fought for his family, his children. That's an example of the fight of faith, and I mean, he fought it all the way through to the end, and I appreciate God for that. And as I was at home, I was thinking, I said, God, you know what? He can hang up his gloves. That was a real fight. Now, that was a fight. That's a real fight in the Church of God. He fought the fight of faith. And now he can hang up his gloves. And as I was thinking that the other day, I was thinking about my dad and how he would say, hang up the gloves. It's all over. No need for the gloves no more. It's all over. That's the fight of faith. This is what we live for, and this is what it is. And all I knew about him since the time I came here, and this was 31 years ago, is that this brother fought the fight of faith. That's all I knew about him. That's all I knew.
Amen.
Thank God for the life of Brother John. I remember when he first came with Fred Bland, and he brought a bunch of young people with him from the Western Michigan University choir, I think it was. And I was 13 years old, and I was standing at the front door. They decided to go play basketball, and he went out and put on some basketball shorts. And I just remember standing out the front door like, oh, he is so cute. And Sister Linda Ford was like a newcomer at the time. She was like, he's too old for you. And I'm like, it's okay, he's still cute, And they told him, and I got a little bit embarrassed when he came back to the house. And he said, it's okay, you can be my little sister. And since then, that's how he treated me, just like a little sister. When I was at the hospital on Thursday night with them and the family, we were at the home at first, and it's just like I've had a burden for him ever since he was sick, because it amazed me that he could always get up and go, despite his condition, despite his weakness, despite his pain. And last year, we were in the park, and I was just sitting in the park because I was bothered by asthma, and he came and sat in the car with me, and we talked for probably over 2 hours, just about life, and about that thrive, and about being able to press past that. And he said, Anissa, if I didn't have a press, look at everything that would falter. My family, my children, my salvation, and he got to just naming these things, and that stuck out so much with me that I even increased my burden for him, because of his condition. And it was like even after he passed, I'm still praying for him. I'm like, God, thank you for taking him to heaven. I'm always praying for Brother John. But I thank God for his life. I thank God for his faith and his
My
faithfulness.
God, my God. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord.
But I want to thank God for Brother John and meeting him, knowing him. And it was two things that really, stuck out with me with Brother John. First, every time we see each other in church, I said, "You ready to fight?" He said, "The fight is on." And the other thing that stuck, he let us know how he felt about that old devil in his song whenever he'd sing, "And when old Satan," I mean, he would get that word, he would hold it right there, letting you know, when he tempts me so, that's just the time I'm going to trust him more. And that's exactly what he did. We appreciate it.
Hallelujah. Praise God. Thank the Lord.
I appreciate about a year ago, I talked to him sometime about making soap, and I gave them some soap that I had made, and he liked it so much. He said, "Sister Dorinda, I'd like to make some." So I went out to their house, and he sat and watched Michelle and I made the soap. And he watched us and he said, "I want to make it myself." So we got some more oil together, and Brother John got up and he made his own soap. And I just appreciated him for how he enjoyed doing things like that. He was so good and handy and doing a lot of things. I don't want to bore the saints, but I do want to share a story. That this is what encouraged my heart when I learned about Brother John going home. This is a story about a bus driver who used to pick up students to go to school. And as he would go on his route, there was one little boy that he had to pick up. And he had to pick him up by a graveyard. And he didn't understand. That was awfully strange. Most children, you pick them up by their driveway, the mailbox, or on the corner or something. But this little boy would get picked up at the graveyard. And he would get dropped off at the graveyard. And one time, this bus driver decided to ask the little boy who was dropping him off, and he said, "Young man, I noticed you have to get picked up and dropped off at this graveyard, and I'm just curious, why is it that you get picked up and dropped off here?" And the little boy said, "Oh, mister," he said, "if you look way across this graveyard, I know it's big, but look way over to the other side." He said, "You see that line of trees over there? If you look real close, you can see there's a white house, and that's where I live." And the man looked, he said, "Yeah, I see it." The little boy said, "Well, in order to get home, I've got to go through the graveyard." And you know what, saints? In order for Brother John to get home, he had to go through the graveyard. He's home now. They're going to take that old body to the graveyard. But Brother John has made it in. And that's the way we all have to go, thank God. Appreciate him tonight.
Thank the Lord.
I remember this brother, one day we were in here having a discussion. Pastor Hampton was talking about tasting salvation and falling back off or backsliding. Can you ever get back to the state or the position that you once held? And I don't know. I felt that one time in my life I had got to where I should have gotten to it. I fell off. But I realized that was being in the Babylonian church, so I wasn't where I should have been. But I didn't know at the time. And I remember asking the question, if anybody got anything that can help me with this situation for me to understand it. You sitting back there, about 5 pews up from the back, maybe 6. As soon as I asked that question, he said, Hebrews 6:4. And that read, it says, "For it is impossible for those who were once enlightened, and have tasted of the heavenly gift, and were made partakers of the Holy Ghost, and have tasted the good work of God, and the powers of the world to come, if they shall fall away, to renew them again unto repentance, seeing they crucified to themselves the Son of God afresh, and put him to an open shame. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I mean, I was really thirsty for an answer. And he just, bam, when he hit me with that, and I read it, okay, it was solid right there. It wasn't no more questioning in my mind. I remember one day I was going to Lansing to go to this company called Labor Rates, temporary work service. And you got, best thing to do is get there early in the morning so you can get an assignment that day. I rolled out real early. I left here probably right before 6 o'clock down the highway. And I'm flying, and I passed the car. I looked over, and it was him. And I really wanted to acknowledge him, you know, like, hey, bro, what's happening, you know? And I had a moment to look at it, to glance at it. And he was sitting there, he wasn't flying, he was just driving, and he was holding that car. And what was ever on his mind, he was just focused, you know, like, I don't know what he could have been thinking about, whatever it was, he was very focused. I've seen him in church, and I could tell that he was struggling with something. I didn't know exactly what it was. I look at his family, and I know for a person that's full of Christ, that's living the life, that's fully sanctified, not only are they in order, but their house is in order. I look at his family, and I really see a family that's serving the Lord. So I know he had to be that rock for that family. I look at gentlemen in this congregation who are lined up with the Lord like that, lined up with the word like that, who are running their households and living that example. It gives me inspiration to know that eventually that could be me. I don't know, I'm the type of person that I've seen some saints in the church suffering in their bodies, being afflicted with this, that, whatever the case would be, and how they really stand in it. They ain't crying, they ain't murmuring, they just going through life and they hold on to God. I'm the type of person, I don't like that much pain, but you know, when you got God on your side, and when you serve the Lord, and when God is showing favor in your life, I'm realizing ain't nothing you can't go through. He'll get you through anything. Now, our outcomes might not be all what we want them to be, but I know for a fact that no matter what I got to go through, while I'm living, whether it be family, friends, job, circumstances, no matter what it would be or what it could be, I want to be able to stand and for a person to look at me and not be able to see my pain or see me wavering or see me murmuring and just be the strong Christian to just be able to hold on and don't let it bother me, but to keep my eyes on the prize, which is God. And I just thank God for Brother John and a lot of other gentlemen in this congregation who really are living the life that God wants us to live. I pray for the family.
I want to thank God for the opportunity of knowing Brother John. When he first came back in the 80s, I considered him one of the original young people. And the two things stick out in my mind is his faithfulness. He proved the scripture that said that he can seal to the day of redemption. From the time he got saved as a young man until the day of his death, I've never seen him waver. He was steadfast no matter what the situation was. I would talk to him a lot, just close to the family, and he was a real man of God. Amen. And the other thing that came to me was that red wagon. That red wagon, when he talked about that bully and he snatched that wagon, I was seeing him in the last phases of his life. And I was thinking to myself, when he got too weak to do what he could do naturally, and I'm sure the enemy coming at the end, God gave him the strength one more time to snatch that wagon and make it on home to glory. And I will forever remember Brother John. Thank you.
My remarks that I have for Brother John is that one day I went to the Warren's house. Everyone knows that Melissa is my best friend. And one day Brother John was in the kitchen and I was like, hey, Brother John, and I gave him a hug. And I guess he was surprised by it. He was like, it's like he took it, it was like, oh, Cotty or whatever. So ever since then, I would say hi to Brother John, I would greet him with a hug. And so that was special to me, and we were able to have other side talks, and I just want to thank God for that.
God bless. Yes, Lord.
Really nice speaker. But I want to thank God for Brother John. To me, Brother John was a warrior. I think just like Sister Mary was talking about that wagon, how he was determined not to let that bully him anymore about that wagon, how he stood his ground, you know. I thank God for Brother John because he was the epitome of faith. He had a faith to me that was undaunted. He fought, he hurt, he cried. Whatever came, he endured it. That was the Church of God to me. The Church of God was Brother John Warren. And to not see that is to see less than victory. He stood for the Church of God. He was crowned, and he's crowned Church of God. You know, to me, that's what we're fighting for. That's what we want, is to make heaven. I have no doubt in my heart, like John the Baptist said, is this he or shall we look for another? This is the springboard of heaven. You can walk this gospel, you can take it, you can make it. Brother John took it, he made it. He's a light. He's a light to me. And I appreciate him. I appreciate the fight. I appreciate what he stood for. I appreciate how he was a man of God, how his family, even in his sickness, his family grew. Despite what he went through, his family still grew. I don't know how many more babies they had, but they had some more. But I appreciate God how he stood. It never got too heavy. It never got too hard. He loved them. He proved it. And I thank God for Brother John. He to me, Church of God. You know, that's it. I mean, Church of God in body and soul. He was it. And I'm encouraged by it. The Bible said, "Mark the perfect man. Behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace."
First of all, I just want to say my hearts go out to Sister Michelle and the boys. Over the past couple of years, I actually got to grow closer to Austin and Ann. But I can say this, I remember when I first got saved, I watched a lot of people and I observed a lot of people. And one of the people that I watched in particular was Brother John, because I knew that he didn't have a Church of God background, and I knew that he came from Babylon. So I remember one day just talking to him about his experience of how he came to God, and I just remember him just telling me, he said, man, listen, he said, you got it, if you really want it, you got to want it for yourself. And I really appreciate John for that, and I just want to say this, I had a really funny encounter with Brother John. I remember, I guess word was getting out when I first got saved that old Brother Bree left me sane. But it wasn't until I got to the choir I realized I didn't have no skills in the choir. But I remember he came up to me, and it was me and Brother Terrence, we were talking, and Brother John came up to me and he said, Brother Bree love, I heard that you can sing. And mind you, since I came from Babylon, so in Babylon everybody think they can sing. So I remember he just looked at me, he just said, so Brother Bree love, I heard that you can sing, whatever. And I just looked at him with the most confidence. I said it with the most confidence and with the most pridely look. I said, man, what? I said, man, y'all slipping on me here. And he just looked at me and he said, I'm sorry, brother. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing you just said. And I said, you heard, y'all slipping on me. And Brother Terrence, appreciate Brother Terrence, he grabbed me and said, hey. He looked at Brother John, and he said, hey, he's still a baby. He still, you know, he still ain't got it yet. But in closing, I just want to say this, you can always tell what type of man they are by the way they run their house. And one thing I got to say to Jonathan, through Taylor, to Melissa, to Austin and to even Benjamin and Daniel, they were always respectful. You never heard them saying anything out of order. You never seen them doing anything out of order. And I just want to say there's 3 words that I can say about Brother John is dedication, hard work, and sacrifice. He dedicated himself to God. He dedicated himself to his family. He dedicated himself to his children. He was a hard worker. But most of all, I appreciate the sacrifice, how he got up every single morning to drive to Lansing. Winter, snow, rain, whatever. That's the definition of a man. So I really appreciate Brother John.
The reason why you see me coming with a Bible is not because I'm going to preach. But I'm using the Bible because Brother John Warren lived the Bible.
Amen.
And Sister Love said that Brother John was the epitome of faith. If we could make a logo that would define Brother John, I believe that he really fits those words. I want to talk about the faith that this man had. And I want to use his name with some of the scriptures because I believe this with all my heart about Brother John. For Brother John, faith was the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. By faith, Brother John offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice. By faith, Brother John, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. By faith, Brother John came to a city which had foundations, whose builder and maker is God. By faith, Brother John chose rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. And what shall I more say, for the time will fail me to tell of Brother John, who through faith, righteousness obtained promises. Brother John, out of weakness, was made strong. By faith, Brother John did not accept deliverance that he may obtain a better resurrection. Of whom this world was not worthy. By faith, Brother John obtained a good report through faith.
Brother John was a good man. He loved God and proved it. I remember towards the last few days, Michelle could sense something was going to happen. So she told John, and I'm scared. She didn't know what to do. John patted her on her hand and said, call your mother. I thank God I may not know what to say or what to do, but I can pray. Amen. And we prayed. I thank God for John.
And when I think of him and the type of person that he was, or saint, his example was as deep as his voice. And that was very strong in my book. Everything that everyone said, I agree with everything. He'll never be forgotten. He was truly a man of God. My grandson said, Grandma, that's why I can't bring my iPod back to church. I said, yeah, but I appreciate John, and I'll never forget him.
And the Warren family especially, because just like the Willis family, when I first got here, I used to look at it and all I thought about was the power of a family and how you stuck and could sing. And one of the things about John, that encourages me very much, even to this day when I think about it, is that he found something from the Lord to give me. And little do the saints know here that I will get what I need from you the way I know you. That's the way I do things. You know, don't wait on you to give it to me. I know how to get it from you. And John was one of the brothers that wasn't too hard to get something from you that I needed in my soul to keep on going. Only been here 4.5 years, but it took the half for me to get to cranked up. But the other 4 years, I began my journey to get what I need to get to where I am right now today. You know, and I thank God for his life. You know, he's truly, indeed, a Church of God man example. There are many saints I watched lead that were very strong in my life, and I still have memories. You know, Brother Ron Cadden, Brother Pitts, Brother Keith. There's so many people that I knew personally that mean so much that's going on. You know, but because the more I know about God and the real Holy Ghost, I know that they're going to in a better, it's an altogether different thing. You know, back in the day, I was in the Babylonian world, I'd be crying, boo-hooing and all that. You know, but that's because I didn't really know God, nor did I know the things of God and how he does things. But I thank God for his life. Thank God for my life, seeing him live, seeing him be an example of a strong father, a good brother, and a man after God's own heart, I would say. I appreciate his life.
God bless him. Praise God.
I have known John since I started coming here. Quite honestly, I was so impressed with the knowledge that he had. He was very learned in the Word of God and the doctrine, but he also lived it. He lived it before he got sick. He was really a very bright young man, given to the Lord, so interested in the things of God. But I was thinking that on one occasion, Pastor Hampton and a group of us went to visit Brother John. He was very sick and very low in his body, and he was kind of like giving up. You know, he was kind of like a little discouraged. And we went there, and we were able to. He was talking about he wasn't able to go to work, and I told him, along with Pastor Hampton and others, we were trying to encourage him. We were encouraging him, and the encouragement took root in his soul. He was inspired to step back out by faith, you know. But I was thinking, I sit over there and I sit in front of him, and very often we're talking about diet. He was concerned about what to eat, what not to eat, and we would talk very deeply about the things that he needed. And just the other day, I was telling his wife and him, I was saying to him, I said, Brother John, you need to try these particular oats. And they were growed oats. And I was telling him, and I said, Sister Michelle, you need to mix this with some like almond milk. You know, you need to mix it and just let it sit for a few hours, and then blend it, put strawberries, put berries in it. And I talked to her later, and she said, oh, Brother Herman, she said, I did do what you said, but I let it sit for like 4 days. I said, did you give it to her? She said, yeah. He said it was good. It was very good. You know, it was very good. But I was just thinking, as I was sitting over there one time, this is what got me. He said to me, he said, Brother Herndon, he said, you have to understand. He said, I had a deadline on my job. I had to write a program. And I had pressure on me, Brother Herndon. I had a lot of pressure. And the fact that I was taken out of my comfort zone by having to move. You know, he was moving, and he was saying, I was taken out of my comfort zone, my bedroom. He said, I'm not even in a bed, Brother Herndon, that I can get any rest, that I can really rest, you know. And he said, also, Brother Herndon, he said, you know, I had to deal with this house, you know, getting the house back from the lady. And he started enumerating all the things that had come upon him. But what got me with him is that he was saying that he was tired. That he was tired. And I was really checking with his wife. I was checking with her to see really what did he mean? How tired was he, you know? And as this progressed on, I realized how tired he was. He had fought a good fight. You understand that? He had fought a good fight. He finished his course. And that's what I began to realize, that Brother John has decided. He actually decided. I was asking her on Sunday, what did he die from? And she said, she doesn't really know. Do you understand that? Brother John finished his course, fought a good fight, and kept the faith. You understand that? And he was ready to lay down his sword. Plain and simple. I felt that. I felt that even before it happened. You know, and that is a decision that he made because he had done all that he could do on earth. You understand that? That is wonderful. Isn't that wonderful? That is a wonderful experience that he had. I seen him go through. He used to ask me like things to build him up, you know, build him up, and I would tell him about this. It's all natural. And he would say, Brother Herman, yeah, that really helped me. That really helped me. But it was funny. I know what I mean, and he knew what I meant. You understand that? God bless you.
Amen. Thank God.
You may have a fancy car, brand new house that shines by far. You may live to be 100 years old, but if you have not been saved, it all ends with the grave. But I want us to be together in heaven. I want us to be together in heaven. I want to walk down the streets of pure gold. I want to run through the fields of green clover. See my mansion, smell the flowers, hear the singing, it's all ours. See the river gently flowing, feel the gentle breeze that's blowing. I want us to be together in heaven. You may be a millionaire, wearing clothes beyond compare. You may have the best that money can buy, but if the blood is not applied, then in hell you'll lift your eyes. But I want us to be together in heaven. I want us to be together in heaven. I want to walk down the streets of pure gold. I want to run through the fields of green clover. See my mansion, smell the flowers, hear the singing, it's all ours. See the river gently flowing, feel the gentle breeze that's blowing. I want us to be together in heaven.